Okay, hopefully everyone can see the presentation.
Yeah,
Um,
I think the
awesome.
presentation is going perfectly. We've just hit record. So what I might do is just introduce and then throw over to you, Alannah. So yeah, for those that are here live and for those that are watching online after the fact, this is a presentation for the Youth Participation Practice Network from the Crew4Life team at Live4Life. We have Alannah, we have Erin, Laura, and Nathan who have set up this alumni program. And we're very fortunate to have them here today doing a spotlight presentation to share a little bit about the journey, a little bit about their challenges and successes of setting up this awesome program. So without any further ado, I'll throw over to you, Alannah.
Thank you, Sam. Hi, everyone. My name's Alannah. I'm the youth engagement worker at Youth Live for Life, and my role is setting up this amazing alumni group of young, inspirational people called Crew4Life. I'm also zooming in from Gunditj Mara country today, and I'd like to acknowledge the elders past, present, and emerging as well. Yeah, so a little bit about Crew4Life. First of all, I'd like to give some background on what is Live4Life. So, Live4Life is a youth mental health promotion charity. We are from regional areas all around Victoria, and we started in the Macedon Ranges. And basically, our vision is that rural communities across Australia are empowered to support and invest in young people's mental health and reduce youth suicide. So, our program runs in 11 rural communities all around Victoria, and we are expanding every year. Our program works really closely with communities to ensure that mental health stigma is reduced. And the Youth Live for Life model is the only mental health model for regional and rural areas for young people, and it involves 4 different parts. The main part that we'll be focusing on today is the crew. So the crew is year nines and year 10s from the regional communities that Youth Live for Life is in, and they're the youth mental health ambassadors. So they go into the communities, run events, and also receive training to increase their mental health skills and also other skills within their life. So this is where Crew4Life comes in. Live4Life thought, hey, we have all these amazing year nines and 10s that are trained up to be youth mental health ambassadors in their communities. What do we do now? And that is where the Crew4Life came in. So they thought, we have all these amazing skills that we want to continue to develop, and our crew members found the Live4Life program to be amazingly engaging, and they wanted to continue their journey as well. So Crew4Life came in. So we're an alumni group of young people who are past crew members in year 9 and 10s from the Live4Life program. So our Crew4Life members range from 16 to about 26, 27. And it's interesting that we spoke before about that 25-year-old age range. So we have a lot of our past crew members who were in the first ever cruise, who obviously we wanted to remain engaged. So that's why we kept them remain engaged, even if they were above 25. And so that we have 20 young people from all around the state in our Crew4Life. And I'm very grateful today to have Nathan, Erin, and Laura presenting, and also Jayce coming along. These are just a few of our amazing Crew4Life members. So the purpose of Crew4Life was to continue the amazing work that our young people have developed whilst they were in crew in the communities, and in turn provide them with opportunities to further develop, also to meet people from all around the state, and then also to use their expertise at Youth Live for Life in our organisation. And it's been amazing so far. Our Crew4Life has launched for 4 months. I've also played this video from our first founders of Crew4Life, which are Maddie and
Yeah,
Kyle.
Crew4Life came about when Maddie and I were doing training at one of the schools, and I think we were kind of struggling for a few trainers, and we kind of started having this conversation of, well, where are all our past crew? Don't we have so many amazing young people in our communities that went through Live4Life, joined the crew, and then we just kind of lost touch with. It was really exciting to think, how many, and kind of doing the math on how many past crew members are out there in our community and in our other communities now as well that we've lost touch with. And so Crew4Life was this, let's get them back involved, let's see what they're doing, let's utilize their skills and their knowledge that they've learned, and see if tap into some of those passions that they had when they were in year 9 and 10, and see what they've done with those passions now and what that can be utilized for. So Crew4Life is going to be such this important next step in the Live4Life model. And I think, we've lost touch with so many past crew members. And, I think back to even when I graduated school and, losing that structure of high school and, hanging out with my mates every day. I think my mental health really kind of switched a little bit and kind of changed, and how I managed my mental health became harder. So I think it's an awesome opportunity. Young people and youth is from 12 to 25. It doesn't stop when you graduate high school. So having this pool of other, Crew4Life members who can be ambassadors and can work with us to, also do mental health stuff for the whole scope of young people, not just while they're at high school.
I think ultimately, in my opinion, the whole goal of Live4Life communities is that one day the Live4Life community is just the community. It's every person, it's every doctor, it's every nurse, it's every football coach, it's every tradie. And I think emboldening these people who have come through the crew to help become champions of mental health within their communities, I think that's how we reach that goal quicker. And I think when we hit that goal, it'll be very beautiful.
I really love that video. I think it really captures the passion behind why Crew4Life was started. And I really like when Maddie says that the goal is for not just Crew4Life to be their own community, but for Live4Life just to be the community, that it is involved in every person's life within their communities. It's really exciting. So these are some of the opportunities that we have for our Crew4Life alumni network, I guess. So one of the main things was for our Crew4Life to have opportunities to meet other members from all around the state who have been through the same program as them, and then also to help plan events and activities, which we're currently in the process of doing. And then also to give further training opportunities. So we have some further training opportunities coming up with our Crew4Life through YACVic, actually, which is the running great workshops training and the youth advocacy training. So very exciting. And then also we wanted our Crew4Life to be involved in their communities, which is something that they recognise as really important. So being involved in the launches, inductions and celebrations, which are within the communities with the crew, which are year 9 and 10s. So being involved in those events. And then also support guest speaking. So we have a few opportunities coming up, such as our spring dinner and other opportunities. And then also we're in the current position of developing a youth advisory committee, so that our Crew4Life can have their voices be heard within the organisation. And then also from a Live4Life perspective, it also allows us to utilise their skills of the crew within our organisation. So it's very exciting. I kind of wanted to talk through some of our planning stages. I think they'll be really helpful, especially when I first came into the position. Forming an alumni group is something that there's not too much out there about how they're formed. There's a lot on youth advisory committees and that kind of thing. But I wanted to share some of the processes that we had to go through as an organisation to kind of get Crew4Life on the road. So our planning stages are really highly involved with our young people. So asking our past crew members, what do you want to do? How do you see Crew4Life? What would you want to get out of Crew4Life? And that was a really important part of our planning stages. We still had contact with a few past Crew4Life members who themselves kind of remained engaged in Live4Life. So with those contacts, we contacted them and had surveys and that kind of thing. And then also got in contact with other organisations out there. I really recommend talking to other organisations, seeing what they have out there, and also that really helped me in this position, hearing tips and planning processes for what other people do as well. That was really important. We also spent a lot of time developing resources, including like induction packages, so in risk mitigation strategies and policies, and also indemnity forms, making sure our young people feel safe, and that it's a safe group and environment. And then we also, with our budget, the parameters weren't too clear on what like specific goals there were going to be, like specific events. So that really left us room to kind of play with how we were going to launch Crew4Life. That was kind of the main goal of this year, to launch and run Crew4Life. So that can be good because the budget leaves you room to do lots of different things, but also challenging because the options endless. We also launched on social media with our comms team. We did a lot of work, and we had Crew4Life help choose the logo and all that kind of thing as well. But we were really lucky because an alumni group, we kind of already have contact with young people, whereas a lot of youth groups that form kind of are just getting contact without connections. So we were lucky enough to be in contact with communities and spread Crew4Life that way. We also have monthly kickbacks, which are our monthly online meetings where we all come together and catch up and also plan events and that kind of thing that we're going to do, and also our theme. So we have 20 members at the moment, 20 amazing members, which has been really exciting, especially for our first year. And we have lots of ambitions and goals for the future as well. So these are some of the opportunities as well, which I've kind of touched on already with trainings and the meetings, and also helping assist with our rebranding and all that kind of thing. And then also this opportunity, which we are very grateful to be able to present at. And then the future as well, we're currently devising the Youth Advisory Committee, and that is a planning work in progress at the moment, because we want to make sure that we do it right, and also preparing the board for young people to come in and have their say within the organisation, which we found to be really important. And then the Crew Champions, which is a paid position to speak at events in the communities, because our Crew4Life really want to have an involvement back in their communities. So that's currently a work in progress as well. And now I'm going to pass over to our amazing Crew4Life members. So I'll let them introduce themselves. I'll first pass over to Erin.
Hello, I hope you all can hear me. I'm Erin. I believe I'm one of the younger crew members. And yeah, I joined Crew4Life when Sarah spoke to me about an opportunity. So when it was very early in the makings, I was already on board. I just wanted an opportunity to continue with Live4Life. It's one of the few organisations that I got to be a part of and really enjoyed working with. And I'm still here, so I can continue spreading awareness of mental health and learning about it myself.
Thanks, Erin. My name is Nathan. I use he, him pronouns. I'm from Benalla in northeast Victoria, from Yorta country. I joined Crew originally as a Live4Life member in 2017 and 2018. That was when I was in year 9 and 10. Really enjoyed the opportunity to, be a youth leader in the community and, have a positive impact on young people, around the community. Really digging into the communities in the schools in Benalla, I should say, and having an opportunity to, meet new teachers and make some connections with students from other schools as well. And when the opportunity came late last year and early this year to, come back and reconnect with the crew and, potentially meet other like-minded people like me from around the state, I jumped towards that opportunity as well. So that's my intro, and I'll pass on to Laura.
Thanks, Nathan. Hi, everyone. I'm Laura. I use she, her pronouns. I'm originally from the Macedon Ranges Live4Life community, so the OG Live4Life community, which is a bit of a flex in my opinion. So I have been involved with Live for Life for about 7 years now, which makes me feel very old. But it's just it's an organization that I'm so passionate about and has benefited me in so many ways over the years, and I just can't wait to see how Crew4Life can grow into something that continues benefiting our communities and our peers. So it's a very exciting time and program to be involved in. As we continue on, I'd like to just introduce this little video that some other Crew4Life members have been involved in creating. So a bit of an insight into what Crew4Life is and why we all love it so much.
Hi, my name is Alannah, the Youth Engagement Worker at Youth Live for Life, and this is our Crew4Life.
My name is Courtney.
My name is Charlie Sawyer Bassett.
Hi, my name's Jayce.
I'm Erin. My name's Nathan. I'm from Yorta country in northeast Victoria from Benalla.
Now, why did you join Crew4Life?
I joined Live for Life originally because I wanted to do something different, and I thought it was important to acknowledge other people's mental health. I then have chosen to stay with Crew4Life because I think, once again, it's really important to stay together with like-minded people from communities, all around Victoria that get to network together week to week, which is really exciting.
And I joined Crew4Life because I like to talk about mental health, and I'd like to encourage others to do so as well, more freely.
I joined Crew4Life as I thought it'd be an amazing opportunity to rekindle some of the old relationships and connections that I'd made through Live for Life, originally as both a student and a crew member. I also wanted to give back to my community and be the voice for other young people in my region and get their voices heard towards different organisations and individuals that would help out the community for the better.
And I joined Crew4Life to continue being able to be in the organisation that helps support teens with mental health. I keep learning new things and I'm able to teach other people. And I'm glad I had the opportunity to continue to further improve my knowledge and my ability to help others.
And I originally joined Live for Life last year to join a group of people who are like-minded and all working towards the same goal.
What is one word you would use to describe Crew4Life?
A value that I'd use to describe Live for Life would be community, as it allows for everyone to feel a sense of belonging and allow for everyone's voices to be heard no matter who they are, and to get their thoughts and opinions through to both the council and other organisations.
One value I would use to describe Crew4Life is collaborative. We all work together and everybody's ideas are respected.
And, if I got to say one thing about Crew4Life that's really important, it will be, that everyone cares about one another. We're all there with a similar purpose. We've all been through different walks of life, but we all end up back on our monthly meetings, catching up and meeting one another. So it's really great.
One value I think Crew4Life has especially is communication, because communication is key in this topic that we base ourselves on, mental health.
The value of Crew4Life, I'd have to put unity or togetherness. It's really just everyone working together to accomplish something great.
I love that video. I feel like we might have already shared what made us join Crew4Life. Did Nathan, Erin and Laura, would you like to say more on that?
Erin, you can go first. If you'd like.
I think I summed it up pretty much.
Yeah, I'll jump in with a little bit more on that topic. So, some benefits that you can get from Crew4Life are, we're getting the opportunity to do, some more public speaking. We're getting the opportunity to show our communities that, youth can be leaders, in the community and with what we do. We work on inclusion and friendships and making sure that we have, long-lasting relationships in those communities and with one another. And, you stick around because you crave those things in regional communities. You don't have a whole lot of opportunity to, network and potentially make friends or, acquaintances with like-minded people. And by staying in this organisation and, we get to do exactly that. And the funding, I think, is really important for Crew4Life, and it's great that Youth Live for Life has been able to bring this into fruition, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes in subsequent years from here.
Given that I wasn't a part of that video because I forgot to send one in, I feel like I have plenty to say about it. But I think the really important thing to take away from any presentation that discusses Live for Life is the impact that it has on communities and on individuals as well. So I've often shared my story with Live for Life because I'm so passionate about it and because of how personal it is to me. I've always said that, the reason work for Live for Life and volunteer every opportunity I get is because Live for Life saved my life. I wouldn't be here today and I wouldn't be the person I am today without Live for Life. And I think that Crew4Life is just an extension of the work that Live for Life is already doing in communities. And I think that it's an opportunity for young people to have their voices heard, but also, people like me who struggled so much in high school with their mental health, and finally, for once, had the opportunity to share, how tough it was, but also how valuable a program like Live for Life was, because it gave me the tools to be able to ask for help. More importantly, it gave my friends, my peers, the tools to be able to notice when things weren't right with me, and be able to actually reach out, to teachers or wellbeing and say, hey, can someone check on her because she's not okay? And I think that if we can take that knowledge that we've learned in Live for Life, bring it to Crew4Life and continue spreading that message, who knows how many lives we could save, because we know how big of an issue mental health is, and the more people that are talking about it, the better. So I stayed because Live for Life saved my life, and hopefully we can, spread the message and just make sure that everyone is getting the help that they need. Moving on to our goals. Erin, if you want to jump in.
Yeah, let me just pull up my notes again. So, our goals for Crew4Life, we wanted to create more discussion and awareness on mental health, and the stigma that surrounds it, that mental health is all bad and that we can't talk about it. We also wanted to create a community that contributes to a multifaceted approach to mental health. So we just want to be able to the community, helping in more than one, to educate ourselves and others and Live for Life. We want to continue improving and continue improving the lives of others as well. So those are a few of our main goals for Crew4Life.
Having goals means that we obviously want a way to achieve those goals. So some of those ways we want to achieve our goals as Crew4Life is by having really open and honest discussions. So Alannah spoke about our kickbacks that we have monthly. That's an opportunity for a group of like-minded people to get together and share their experiences and share their knowledge, and continue having these really important discussions about mental health and how we can continue to educate our communities and our friends and our families. We know that young people want to talk and be involved in discussions regarding issues that matter to them. Mental health is one of those issues. It has a huge impact on young people and they want to be involved in that discussion. So this is just our opportunity to be able to include the views of young people in that discussion regarding mental health. Another way that we can continue to share our messaging is community events. So hopefully there'll be the opportunity in coming months and coming years that we can get out into community, participate in community events, and again, just continue spreading the message. The other thing, possibly one of the most important things that we're going to do to achieve our goals, is utilize lived experience. So just making sure that those who have experienced mental ill health, those who've experienced tough times, or the effects that mental ill health can have on a broader community, are being heard, and their experiences are being listened to, so that we can make sure that anything that is done in this area is done with those in mind who have actually experienced it already and know the truth about how tough it can be, and also what's most important when it comes to moving forward.
Continuing on from what Laura said, I'm discussing why do we want to see change in our communities, and Laura was talking about young people wanting to be a part of the change and wanting to be heard. And I think that there's no better way for a message to be shared with young people than by having like-minded people of the same sort of age trying to share that message with you as well. It comes across very well if it is coming from youth. We want change so we can feel a sense of belonging in the community, make sure that those that in the community are struggling know that there are others who can support them, and where they can go for help in the community as well. We want to, obviously, our overall aim is to reduce the stigma around whether that's young people, older people, members of the community that have a stigma around mental health, and talk about it in ill terms. We want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable to go out and tell people how they're feeling, and they can be respected in the workplace, in their sporting grounds, all that sort of thing. We want to reduce stress and harming in the community of young people. Obviously, it's important that this message gets across the whole community, but if we can start with the young people while they're in school and while they're learning vital messages and stuff, I think it's really important that we can share that message to the youth. Seeing a change in the community also motivates us. So we've had a lot of people go through Youth Live for Life through year 9 and 10, and now Crew4Life started. We can really see how much of an impact it's had, and we're going to have a chain of people right through all different ages that continue to share the same sort of message. So we'll see a change in our community. You could have someone from Live for Life in your work, in your school, in your classes that you do as well. There could be people that have been part of this movement that are part of community change, and from there we'll spread it not only through all of Victoria, but it'll end up in different states. You'll run into people down the track eventually that have done this program, so to start a real big community change and a big movement.
I think Erin's glitched out a bit, but that's okay. So now we're going to talk about our theme, which is what we've come up with as a group for what represents our group, Crew4Life. So would Nathan or Laura, would you like to go ahead?
I'll start with the first part, or just why did we choose it? So obviously our theme that we've all chosen as a group was join the community and continue in unity. So obviously Live for Life is built around community participation, and we wanted to make sure that everyone who sees our theme knows straight away, what we're about and what we're trying to do. So obviously, we want you to join our community of Crew4Life and, continue in unity. So we want everyone to feel that they're invited to come in and, continue to working towards the same common goals we spoke about before. It adds on to the message that, Youth Live for Life is trying to do in schools. In year 9 and 10, they have a theme that they push in each community every year, something that they work towards, that the year 9s and 10s, get to develop their skills on. So it helps build to this. And most importantly, it rhymes. So we'll be able to, people will remember it, and, you can think of it off the top of your head because it rhymes quite well.
And finally, why is it important to us? And I think really we've probably covered it today already, but community is a welcoming space for everyone, and that is exactly what we want Crew4Life to be. So that's why it's so important. We want people to feel welcome. We want people to feel comfortable. So then we can, have those honest, open conversations regarding mental health and find the best way forward for our communities to be able to discuss mental health and support our young people. So that's the main thing. And of course it does rhyme. So why wouldn't you want to be involved in a group that has a rhyming theme? Because obviously important stuff.
Very true. I'm not sure if Erin's okay, but yeah, thank you so much, Erin and Nathan and Laura. You've been like such integral parts of Crew4Life, and I feel like I couldn't have summed up what you said better. So thank you so much for coming along today and sharing your experiences, and it's really appreciated. Thank you so much. And I know that I'm aware of time, but I just want to quickly touch on some of like the challenges and key learnings just quickly for like a minute. As I spoke in my little breakout room before, but one of the big challenges for getting like Crew4Life up and running was, I guess, underestimating the investment that it actually takes to run an alumni group. It's a really personal thing to have connections with these amazing young people one-on-one. So that's kind of why they popped me into the role for 3 days a week to focus on the Crew4Life and getting it up and running off the ground. It initially launched in 2021, but there just wasn't enough time to fully commit to what it could be. The idea was always there. It was always so exciting, but it just wasn't, we just weren't able to do it based off one day back in 2021. And also another challenge is that even though we do have over 900 past people from who are in the crew, it's a challenge to get engaged with all those people, especially because they're all around the state with different community workers and leaders. So that was another challenge for our past crew members to learn about what Crew4Life was, and then also to distinguish between doing it in their communities to then doing it in a group where it's like people from all around the state. And then also planning challenges, we were tossing up between whether to have under 18s involved. So we decided, yes, that's so important because people finish year 10, we want them to roll on and continue. So the planning process in getting that up and running was, working with children's checks for those who are over 18, parental permission throughout the whole process. So keeping parents in the loop, contacting them as well. And then also just going through child safety policies and all that kind of thing. But some of our key learnings would definitely be to do it right from the start. So do your planning stages, ask the questions to the young people, get them involved in what they want the group to look like and what they would like to do, contacting other people who have already started alumni or other groups out there as well. Also just to trial things, like talking about things and planning is great, but actually doing it is different. So it's all about just giving it a go, trying things out, getting the feedback from the people that are in your alumni, whether they liked it or they didn't like it. But I think from my experience, it's just been about like trial and error, just going for it because you never know. And yeah, it's also so important to build connections with the alumni members one-on-one as well, because it's so important to have a group where they can feel safe and also able to reach out to myself or even the organization in general. But yeah, that's this, and here's my contact details if you'd like to contact me. And thank you so much to Erin and Nathan and Laura and also Jayce for attending, and just want to open it up and see if anyone had any questions.
I might just jump in, Alannah. We're very close to running out of time, so what we might do is do the Q&A via the chat box if you're happy to do that.
I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Alannah, Nathan, Laura, Erin, and Jayce, and to those who created the video that was shared today as well. You've all taken time out of your day to come along and share your journey. It's not easy stepping into a room full of faces and speaking up. So a massive props and thank you for pushing yourselves to do that today. You can see that there's a lot of love in the chat, as well as all the reactions and emoticons that are going up on people's screens as well. So yeah, massive thank you to you all. And if you're catching this online and watching it on YouTube, please have a look in the description box for links to join the YPPN so that you can take part in these future conversations. All right, we can wrap up there. Thanks, Nelly.